Tomorrowland, which is the new film by Brad Bird, who made Incredibles and Iron Giant, co-written by Damon Lindelof, who was the screenwriter of Star Trek and, of course, Prometheus, about which we had some discussions just recently when I finally went back and watched it again and went, actually, that is a bit pants, isn't it? Because at the time, I was sort of one of its few defenders saying, well, I thought it was all right. But it was certainly true that seeing it again the second time, it was a little bit all over the place. Anyway, this stars Britt Robertson as Casey Newton, who is the child, sort of NASA child, and believes in space and the space race and wonders why it is that everyone around her, her teachers, all the rest of it, keep telling her what's wrong with the world and how everything's bad, but don't seem to have any way of fixing it. Anyway, she's a bit of a rebel. She's going her own way, and this is getting her into trouble with the authorities until she is handed a button, a small, like a pin, like a little badge. And when she touches the pin, suddenly she seems to be transported to an alternate world. Here's a clip.
I am very upset with you.
I get it. You're angry. I understand. But have you ever seen this before? Does it look weird? Don't touch it!
Why are you yelling at me?
Not while you're driving, Dad. It's dangerous. Just pull over.
I swear to God, Case, if you're on drugs...
I'm not on drugs. All will be explained as soon as you touch this pin. What is... It's not working? You're not seeing this?
Casey, stop it!
Yeah, so what's happening in that clip is that she has this button, this pin, this badge, and when she touches it, she's suddenly transported to another world in which she appears to be travelling through fields of wheat. Cream of wheat, a tremendous amount of wheat.
Like that?
It's Woody Allen in Love and Death. I can't say wheat without say a tremendous amount of wheat. And in the distance is this extraordinary land, Tomorrowland. When her father, who we also heard dead, touched it, doesn't happen to him. So it's just something which connected her, and she takes this badge and she holds on to it, and she sees this other world that she then wants to go to because it looks like some kind of alternative parallel universe. And it turns out that that's exactly kind of what it is. It is a world that was created in which scientists and artists and great thinkers would create a better tomorrow today, which I think is a line from Monsters, Inc. They would create a better tomorrow today, and it's this sort of world of gleaming spires and aerial walkways and jetpacks. And then she finds George Clooney, who somebody who used to be a very sort of idealistic inventor, but now is clearly kind of consumed with some kind of anger and angst, and he's been apparently thrown out of Eden. And what she wants to go to Tomorrowland. She wants to go there and and enjoy all the excitement. But he says actually bad things are happening, and the problem is they've abandoned.
Is George Clooney saying bad things?
George Clooney is saying bad things are happening. Now, the film is not short on grand ideas, and it has fabulous design. I don't know whether you remember that film, The Rocketeer, which didn't do well at all, but I really loved The Rocketeer, and very few other people did. And it was one of the films in which the design really did it for me. In terms of Tomorrowland, when they're in Tomorrowland, it is the fantastic sort of beautifully digitally built world that has all that stuff that's always been in Brad Bird's films. He has that sort of space age sense of wonder, future retro, that kind of, even the way he dresses actually, Brad Bird, it's interesting. He's got that sort of sparky 50s, 60s, the future is bright, the future is rockets, the future is positive, the future is going to be good. And there are things in Tomorrowland, just on a visual level, jetpacks and all sorts of that are worth the price of admission. However, the script is very, very clear that actually what it's talking about is ideas, and the idea that it's centrally talking about is, why is it that we know what's wrong but we can't fix it? Why is it that we can decide how the world is going, to hell in a handcart, but we can't stop it? Why is it that people are allowing, global warming and all these other things happen? Why can't we just make things better? Little people, why can't we just all get along? And there are several moments in which the narrative simply stops, whilst essentially the lead characters discuss exactly that conundrum. Whilst the design of the buildings and the design of the aerial walkways and the design of that alternate future, which is it's never quite explained exactly how it exists in this parallel world, while that world is very sleek, the storytelling isn't. And I wondered on several occasions during it whether whether it would carry its audience with it. I mean, it certainly requires a degree of patience because it's not just to do with, zip, zang, boom visuals. It is to do with sitting down and listening to people discussing. And the ideas which I have great sympathy with, and I have absolutely nothing against the idea of somebody making a great, good-looking blockbuster that has at its heart and soul a positive idea, which is the old ideal of the space race, which is the old ideal that we will invent things that will make the world better, that will make the world better for everybody, make the world a place that in which we all want to live. So it's a strange mix of, frankly, quite clunky storytelling, and often it starts, incidentally, with George Clooney struggling to explain the setup. He's doing a straight-to-camera sort of monologue. He's like recording a thing, sort of trying to explain where we are. And he's doing that George Clooney head wobble thing that he does. Have you ever seen this? When George Clooney's doing a thing, he just does a little head wobble, and it's very George Clooney.
Needs a coffee.
Pardon me?
He needs a coffee.
He needs a coffee of whatever. But sorry, I did stop myself. Well done, but I did stop.
Yes.
But he does that kind of George Clooney. And the gag at the beginning is that he keeps being interrupted by somebody else off screen because he's not telling the story well enough. And oddly enough, that same criticism could be made of the film. Its storytelling is a little rambling and a little all over the place. And so therefore, it doesn't have what you think of as that kind of classic sense of the story that everybody can click into and immediately get. But it has ambitious ideas, it has flawed screenwriting, and I think that does come down to Damon Lindelof. Essentially, the flaws in this are kind of pretty similar to the flaws that are in Prometheus, incidentally. But there is enough there on the screen visually to have you swept along. And I came out of it, I went to see it with Simon, who is from, not you Simon, the other Simon who works on our show, and we both came out with thinking the same thing, which was, I like the idea. I want it to be slightly better than it is, but I like the idea. The storytelling is not great, but there is enough in it that's likable to you go, okay, actually I will embrace that.